works or whatever. I don't know, it just, so it, hey everybody, it's Casey here. So today I'm going to talk about a first look. And if you guys don't know what that is, you're probably a little confused, like that's a weird term. Basically, a first look is when the bride and groom see each other before they get married, before the actual ceremony starts. And so the first time I had ever seen this done was when my friend Kelly got married about 1.5 years ago, and I had never heard of this. I didn't necessarily like think anything of it. I was like, oh, that's cute, and we all kind of like spied on them, and it was cute. It was like a really sweet moment between the two of them. And so since then, it's just really intrigued me, and I think it's kind of like I think it's a newer thing. Don't quote me on that, but I feel like it's a newer fad. And so when Drew and I were planning like the timeline of our day, we were kind of realized that we were going to be pretty crunched for time after the ceremony. We wanted to have it as late as possible so that there wasn't going to be a big gap between the ceremony and the reception, you know, because we have a lot of out-of-town guests, or had, I should say, and so we didn't want them to have to figure out what to do for 3 or 4 hours between the two. So there was basically like an 1.5 hour gap, and we soon realized that there was not going to be enough time to do all of the pictures that we wanted to in that time. So we're like, well, I guess we'll do them before, and you know, which means we'll have to see each other. So that was a big reason. I'm going to rewind a little bit and do a little bit of like a history lesson for you. And the reason that I did some research on this is because when I told my friends, a few of them anyway, about the first look that Drew and I were going to do, they kind of were taken aback and didn't know what to think about it. I swear they were like, some of them were like offended by it, like, you're not supposed to see him before the wedding, it's bad luck, yada yada. So to kind of like defend myself a little bit, I had some things stocked up, and I'd read some really great articles. And it's funny, if you go way back in time when arranged marriages were more of a popular thing, the whole tradition of the bride not seeing the groom for the wedding comes from arranged marriages, and it's a silly thing. Basically, you know, in arranged marriages, the bride and groom might not have known each other, and so as the bride's walking down the aisle, she's got her veil on, you know, the groom might be facing the other way. He isn't able to lift her veil until after they have said their I do's and right before they kiss. So they're already married. So legend goes that that is because it doesn't give him a chance to run if he sees her and he's like, oh crap, I don't want to marry her. So it doesn't come from anything romantic or anything like that. It is basically so that they're stuck with each other. That's the main reason that the tradition of not seeing each other before the wedding was started. So that was one of my biggest comebacks, when people would be like, why are you doing that? That's bad luck. Well, okay, but it comes from a really silly place, right? So anyways, the time constraint was a big thing for us. Another thing was our church that we got married in is huge. It's actually the biggest sanctuary in Omaha, and so it has a really long aisle, and I'm emphasizing the reallys. And so this is just what I had pictured happening when I walked down the aisle. Drew's kind of like looking like, is that Casey? And she's wearing white. I don't know, I can't, it would have been really anticlimactic, you know, because he wouldn't technically fully see me until, like, you know, I got really close to him. But the biggest reason that we decided that we were okay with doing the pictures first and seeing each other beforehand was because we got to have a private moment between just the two of us, and really soak it in and just appreciate each other and what we looked like and what I was wearing. And you know, Drew got to, you know, ask me about my dress. He's like, oh, how long is your dress? Because he didn't know anything about it. You know, I'd been keeping it a secret, and so he, you know, wanted to see everything, and we got to talk about it and hug and cry, and you know, we wouldn't have been able to do that during once the ceremony had started. You know, we didn't get to talk about everything. So it was really nice to have that little moment with the two of us. And you know, I'm gonna get emotional here. You know, we were engaged for a year and there was so much built up to that point. Like, I cannot even begin to describe the excitement of like working up to your wedding day and like how much it means to get to that point. So we kind of like just had this moment, not only to like look at each other and appreciate each other, but to be like, babe, we made it, we're here, like by the skin of our teeth. No, not really. Another thing too I wanted to point out is that people are like, well, it's gonna take away from when you actually do walk down the aisle, and it did not at all. If anything, it was even more special than what I had pictured it being the other way, because I had kind of gotten a little bit of like the nerves out of the way, the nerves of like seeing Drew. So when my dad and I walked down the aisle, all of my nerves stemmed from the fact that there are hundreds of all these people that we love there, and it was just like a weird, crazy, awesome feeling to have everybody in the same room. So definitely did not take away from the magic at all. It was still an amazing moment. I still cried again when I walked down the aisle. And I didn't bawl or anything, don't worry. I held it together for the most part. And then another thing too, if you watched like the video when I was talking about my wedding dress, I had that bolero, so I didn't have that when Drew and I did our first look, and so that was another little surprise, I guess. Although I asked him about it later and he's like, oh yeah, I didn't even realize that until you said it. I'm like, oh great, well, what is that for? There's no right or wrong way to do anything in your wedding. I'm a firm believer of that. But I just wanted to let you guys know sort of why we chose to do our first look. And you know, I have, let's see, I was in 3 weddings since ours, and let's see, 2 of them, they had a first look and 1 did not. So, you know, it's not like everybody's doing a first look or everybody isn't. It's definitely like you just have to choose what's right for you. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.